Resolved, schools should adopt the year-round schooling schedule. The capacity to learn is a gift, the ability to learn is a skill, and the willingness to learn is a choice. This quote from Brian Herbert states that students need to be willing to learn, but when individuals are being restricted, there is simply no longer a choice. Year-round schooling benefits students with a decreased learning backslide, lower costs, and helps students with learning disabilities or special needs. A traditional schooling schedule is the most common in the United States, but a year-round education schedule is catching up, and ultimately a better choice to keep students efficiently using their time. Adopting a year-round education will decrease the backslide that holds back students from learning all they could. It is a proven fact that students will spend 4 to 6 weeks learning information that they've forgotten in a 3-month summer. The loss of knowledge does not stop there. As is said by Portland Press Herald, in September, most students will go back to school having lost 2 months of grade level proficiency in math computation skills. It can take until early November before this class is where it was during the previous June. With this backslide, students are essentially wasting weeks of their schooling to relearn. But with year-round education, you can spend a greater amount of time on learning information that will be retained for longer. The only ones who don't lose are the upper 10 to 15% of the student body. Those tend to be the gifted, college-bound. They're natural learners who learn wherever they are, said Charles Bollinger, Executive Director Emeritus of National Association for Year-Round School in San Diego. Yes, the top 10 to 15 students will remain what they have learned, but there's still the bottom 85 to 90% of students who won't. This proves that the traditional schooling method falls behind where year-round education makes up. Adopting a year-round schedule will help students remember the knowledge that they have learned. Year-round schooling not only helps students negate backslide, but the schools are cheaper to run. According to the California Department of Education, if a school has 635 students, it is $25 cheaper per student. Although it doesn't sound like much, the extra $25 can go a long way. What if that $25 was spent on craft supplies for students, or special treats during lunch? For year-round education, it is $15,875 cheaper for the total amount of students than traditional schooling. This illustrates that the money that year-round schools have saved can be used to fund certain classes that have been cut out by schools that can't afford them, like art or music. It is $15,747 cheaper for the total cost of year-round education than traditional education. So why not have year-round schooling? That means adults can pay less on taxes. Therefore, year-round education can let adults be financially smarter and let kids smarter in general. Free the child's potential and you will transform it into the world. Maria Montessori, an Italian scientist, says, any type of child can have potential to do great things, but traditional schooling is holding back students with learning disabilities and special needs. According to Jennifer Edgington, the board-certified behavioral analyst for College Community School District, year-round schooling is an excellent treatment model, not just an educational model, for children with any sort of educational support system. This model allows for students to receive an increased amount of intervention due to the increased consistency of support, therapy, and scheduling. This implies that students with special needs will have a consistent amount of support and therapy throughout the broadened school year. This will provide them with more time to make progress and experience no regression. Jennifer Edgington also states, students that experience this type of schooling will be allowed to make further progress due to regression over summer break no longer being a critical interruption of services. This displays that summer break interrupts progress that special needs students have made. Mrs. Edgington also continues to say, oftentimes I have students who have behavior regression over the summer due to the natural difference in behavioral expectations between home and school. She said she once had a student named M. She worked all year on having M walk through the halls without opening and closing every door 3 times. By April, M could reliably walk down the halls without checking doors. Although M attended summer school, M's behaviors returned in the fall. This is a real-life example of how year-round schools can provide constant structure for students. This school schedule needs to be changed for students like M. Our school years need to reflect the efforts and hearts of those students that fight every single day when they come to these doors, and traditional schooling does not allow this.
My opponents say that year-round schools cost less than the traditional school calendar schools, but I disagree because the traditional school calendars don't have to run the school during the summer, so it'll cost less for lighting, for air conditioning, which we all know it's hotter during the summer. So you have to spend much more money on the air conditioning during the summer than you would during the rest of the school year. That is why we should not adopt the year-round school calendar. My opponents also say that students lose some of their knowledge over the summer, but I disagree because students have many opportunities over the summer that they can take on classes that they enjoy and without having all the burdens of the classes that they really just don't like. Examples, College for Kids is a great opportunity for many students to explore many different paths And there's a whole different, there's also the Kirkwood classes that kids take that they really enjoy. That is why we should not adopt the year-round school calendar. My opponent did not mention though that my opponent did not mention though that students during the school year have many different breaks throughout. But for the real standardized testing, like Iowa assessments, they take vacations during those breaks. So the attendance before and after the breaks is greatly reduced. So they miss the time to study for those tests while they're on those breaks. That is why we should not adopt a year-round schooling calendar.
Traditional school calendar and not making schools change to a year-round schedule can be constructive for students, parents, and administrators. Year-round schools does not allow students and principals the proper summer break, time for social relationships, and doesn't always help students academically. A year-round schooling schedule, staying optional in the U.S. would be beneficial for students and administrators. I have also, in my own personal experiences, have felt the stresses of school, from homework and tests. I enjoy breaks, but summer break really helps me gain myself back and spend a lot of time with my family. The United States should not make year-round schooling schedules mandatory. According to the book Year-Round Schools, a teen said, "It's a good idea whether you live in the city or on the farm," said Ashley, who will be in 11th grade. "Without the summer off, we might go insane." The fact that a student like Ashley feels the need for a summer break shows just how important the time is for her to gain sanity and social skills for the coming school year. Without the break, she may not be as focused in school as she should be, and that really affects Ashley and her representation of her own learning. The long summer break is not only beneficial for students like Ashley, but also for the administrators. In the article, The Effects of Year-Round Schooling on Administrators, the principal spoke about his experience, serving as a year-round middle school principal where he formerly taught on a year-round schedule. After the first 2 years in a year-round setting, he said, "My head was spinning. I never, ever had a break. In fact, in the 8 years I was in a year-round schedule, a week and a half was all the most time I ever took. This is virtually no clown time. As one track leaves for a break, a new track comes in. This is significant because administrators are very hard workers and deserve a break. But when having a year-round schedule, the most time they get off is less than 2 weeks because of all the planning and scheduling they need to do for the next track. As stated in Han Lin will no longer be a year-round school, attendance is lower just before and after intersessions. Since 2 breaks happen before the tax testing, valuable time is taken away from studying for the test. The most logical conclusion we can draw from this evidence is that precious study and instructional time for tests is taken away from the break scheduled during a year-round calendar. Because students are not only gone on break before the tax test, but are also taking days off for vacation, this is really taking away their time to practice and prepare. By not getting enough essential study time, students are going to be stressing and worrying all because of the one break. They want to enjoy it, but instead have to worry about if they're studying correctly. All in all, students and administrators need a full summer break to de-stress from school and gain sanity for the next coming school year, to feel relaxed and ready to continue learning. The United States Congress should keep the traditional school year calendar and not make the year-round school schedule mandatory in the U.S. According to Colorado County Drops the Year-Round Schooling, an interviewed mother said, "I found that friendships really suffer," said Katie Schaefer, the mother of 3 daughters attending year-round school. Kids on different tracks really don't do things with each other. They don't play together. They can have a friend up the street, but they never see them because they're on a different track. It's almost like they're in a completely different school. This is significant because children need to have friends to socialize with and peacefully make memories. By having neighbors in different school schedules, it does not allow the time for them to productively spend time with their friends. This does not only affect friends getting together, but with families bonding and making memories. As stated in the Move to Year-Round Schedule versus a Culture of Summer. Increasing summer school may be a good educational policy for raising standardized test scores. But is it good social policy to tamper with the season during which many families and friends forge their most endearing bonds and memories? This shows that year-round school schedules disrupt with the time students need to make memories and positively spend time with their family. which is really hard to do during the school year.
My opponent may say, with traditional schooling, summer school is an option, but we disagree because according to our research on a 45-15 schedule, teachers provide many summer school lessons. This lets students come to school when they want to over break to take a mini lesson with teachers. Also, Prairie abolished summer school because of an extreme lack of kids participating in it. Therefore, my opponent says summer schooling is an option, but year-round schooling can provide multiple summer school lessons. My opponent also may say that traditional schooling is better because it allows teachers to have a long break so they can relax and aren't stressed out. But we disagree because their argument is really invalid because according to our research and logic, year-round schooling allows teachers to have more breaks more frequently, which allows them to be able to relax more. That would allow them to have their stress relieved consistently, which helps students because the teachers will be able to help teach children well without getting burnt out, and who takes a 3-month vacation anyway. Therefore, although my opponent says that traditional schooling can provide teachers with a longer break, but multiple breaks are more beneficial to teachers and the students. My opponents may also say that children can have a great learning experience during the summer, like going to a museum or seeing an art gallery, and they wouldn't be able to have that with year-round education. But we disagree because our research shows that children would be able to have more consistent amount of experience over the breaks during the school year. If we let students have those breaks, it will let them relax without having to worry about forgetting what they have learned. Therefore, students in year-round education can still have fun memories. They will just be spread out throughout the year.